Sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet. I will be there soon to wake you so discreet. Sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet. I'll be there soon to wake you so discreet.
All right, and we are back with the next game in the games today. Joining me now for our third game is another new caster with LNZ stepping aside. I'm now here with Lucky. How you doing, Lucky?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Nice to play a few games and then hop in here with yourself, Kinos.
Yeah, always nice to have the players rotating in because now I can interrogate you about how you thought your games went today.
Interrogation is always fun.
It is, especially when you're just trying to, get in mind, keep an eye out, and see how things are going. What are your thoughts about that game? That was quite back and forth.
Yeah, I thought it was a very interesting game. I think we saw some of the same issues in both of our games, one that wasn't cast and one that was. We just got out-rotated on the map, and I think some of the gin cheese was really dirty.
Yeah, the rotations were definitely on point for your opponents in that game. But as I mentioned on the cast, your split pushing did eventually pay off, and you guys got pretty close. Just unfortunate that last fight didn't really go your way.
Yeah, we got caught out a little bit, but what can you do?
Well, what we can do is we can go into the next game here already with the pick and ban phase.
Yeah. Sona's definitely a good ban. I mean, she put out some good damage in our last game, and she's very strong on this patch.
Yeah, definitely. It was nice to see her come out for a little bit, considering she's been on the bans in most of the other games that we've been playing so far today. And also earlier in the month. But now we do see a Kane ban as well. So that's
Ace has been pretty dirty on Kane for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, targeted bans are the name of the game here. So it'll be interesting to see how the different targets affect the different players.
Yeah, I'd expect to see a Shen ban for sure, and potentially a Victor ban.
Yeah, the Victor ban especially. Victor's been pretty effective in the game one, and there he goes.
Actually, that's the Vygar, which is interesting because I know Shaken does not play Vygar. Or actually, he does. I was completely incorrect on that, but Victor's his favored champ.
Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, everybody likes Victor. Who doesn't like Glorious Evolution? And Caitlyn getting banned out too. Quite interesting.
Yeah, she's extremely weak right now. I wouldn't have expected that ban at all.
Well, she's been banned in at least two of the games that I've cast today. But they did let the Misfortune through, and that seems like a very easy, quick pickup because she's been very aggressive in every game that we've seen and able to secure quite a bit of area control.
Oh, and they pick away the Victor.
Yeah, that'll be interesting then. I mean, that's always, of course, the interesting thing about the pick and ban phases in games like League of Legends is that you can not only target ban, but you can also target pick to take away champions as well.
Well, and we're really going to see how much Shaken can deal with his own poison. I mean, he ruins everyone else's day with Victor, but is he going to get his day ruined?
Yeah, we'll have to see. What kind of pick do you expect Shaken to do up against his best friend?
That's going to be a really... I honestly couldn't tell you. I can't say I'm well rehearsed on the Victor counters. I'd expect potentially a Cassiopeia, maybe.
Yeah, that's good possible. I know Cassie gets banned against Shaken quite often, just to try to keep that extra thing. Orianna, I think, is also someone that gets banned against him quite a lot that we could see.
It does. It's definitely different to not have the straight ban Shaken strategy coming in here. So I do expect them to pick their mid here, otherwise he'll be facing 2 more bans.
Yeah, if they don't lock their mid down here, it shows that they're just really comfortable in Shaken's ability to play anyone with an AP tag. And it looks like they are, because they decided to get the Braum to protect the Misfortune instead. So it'll be interesting to see what the next couple of bans are and how much more they'll affect the mid lane pick that we'll probably see. Unless they decide to turn it around and focus a little bit more on the top lane.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing the top lane getting fully focused. I think we see split bans if we see a top lane ban.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see maybe Gnar taken off the table again, because he's been either picked or banned in most of the games that I've seen. But we'll have to see Karma. That's definitely a good choice. We all know how annoying Karma can be.
Oh, especially with Port Swimmer on it. He makes everyone look like fools.
Oh, and Cho getting taken out. So, no big angry top lane lizard this game. What a shame. Unless, of course, someone's going to pick Renekton. But we'll have to see about that.
Definitely a possibility. I mean, Greatbeard of Odin loves a champion based on their left, and Renekton's got a great one.
Yeah. And there's the Gnar ban, like I said.
I recommend skipping.
I really don't agree with that, actually, because Gnar's very beatable in the lane phase and later game with some of the nerfs and the new runes coming out.
Well, I guess it could depend on what they think their top lane's going to be, because if they wanted to pick a top laner who is actually weak against Gnar, they may just be trying to preemptively prevent that. As you mentioned before, though, Shen is still available, so a Shen pick is possible.
I would definitely expect a Shen since they're looking to get that MF ult off.
Well, we'll see. They've got 2 free picks here, so anything and everything's available for the mid and top lane. Let's see what they're going to be. Yep, there's the Shen. Alright, so the mid lane against the Victor. What we've been talking about since the first pick of the game. Let's see what we're going to get. They're making us wait for it.
I'm definitely trending towards the Orianna, like you said, or the Cassiopeia.
Yep, Orianna, they're hovering it. Yep, there it is. Alright, so Orianna, definitely a strong mid lane contender. Got good CC, good protection, like you said. There's a lot of protection abilities on the field here. And there you go. That's why they wanted to ban out the Gnar, because you don't want your Nasus getting poked in the face. Now, you know, while Shaken's going against his favorite character, I get to watch my 2 favorite top laners battle it out. So this will be interesting. Shen versus Nasus.
Doggy say, doggy do. And the ninja might make you a fool.
Yeah, but just looking at this team, it is quite interesting how the various matchups are kind of going to work out. Obviously, Nasus is going to want to be going for a farming game and will be able to take really good advantage of Shen being gone when he ults away to just kind of clean up and get a lot of those Q stacks. Um, and then bot lane, not really a lot of sustain coming out of either of the support champions for their individual characters. So it'll be interesting to see how the engagements go.
Well, and sustain is absolutely critical in the bot lane with this preseason because they've taken away all opportunities to sustain the ADC through your masteries or runes. There's no innate vampirism built in, and there's no way to build in vampirism anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Morgana shield's definitely going to see some play, though, as it might be able to protect the Tristana against some of those Braum stacks that I'm sure will be coming out, especially if the Tristana tries to do a quick dive in to try to pick off somebody in the early game.
Absolutely. And we'll see. Port Swimmer is a big misfortune player. I think this Morgana Tristana lane is going to be at a huge disadvantage because of the amount of poke that Misfortune can put out.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. And for those of you watching here, just a quick note, the winner of this game will be going against the winner of the unaired winners bracket to get to the final game of the evening, which will be coming up right after this. But just with the lineups right here, who do you think kind of has the advantage in terms of just looking at who's got the champs lined up?
I'd really give the early advantage to the team of Port Swimmer, Shaken, and Greatbeard of Odin because they have so much early pressure. I mean, Nasus is looking to sit under tower and farm. This bot lane is going to be stuck under tower, taking loads of poke. Victor and Oriana will be a stalemate, and J4 and Vi pretty much a stalemate as well. So you're going to see a lot of pressure from
Yeah, and
our blue side.
so I think then a lot of the pressure does fall onto the Jarvan to see where he can make plays. Because if both of his top and bot lanes end up being pushed in like that, it's entirely possible that he could swing up and make something happen. Particularly with the snares from the Morgana and the slow from the Nasus. I mean, there could be some really brutal ganks coming in here, especially if the Morgana's snare is on point.
Absolutely, and they're relying on that early pressure from the J4. He's their truly only early game champion. I mean, Victor's can clear early, but he's really a mid to late game champ. So
Yeah, I mean, and of course, Nasus is very much a late game champion as well. So it'll be interesting to see which way it goes because I mean we've had a couple of games now where the late game does manage to claw back a little bit, but the early game just gets so far ahead that it manages to keep its presence in there. So seeing if the red team can keep their win streak going and just kind of lock this out, or if they'll suffer the same way they suffered in game one and fall out, we'll just have to wait and see. But
yeah, I would definitely say this game's going to be strongly decided in the first 15 minutes. No doubt about it. And it'll be interesting to see if we have any potential invades or if we just see standard 5 point warding. Especially since neither of these teams really has any sort of level 1 invade material.
yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see how that goes and which way it goes. Because just with the simple fact that we're looking at such a heavy late game kind of thought process coming out of the red team, just hoping that they can hang on is kind of what they'll be looking for. And we'll see if that's the way it works out. All right, but we are ready to go. Everybody teleporting in here with that neat project overlay, as Alan Z pointed out last game.
And they actually have enabled the emoticons on custom games. That is a real win for some of our players who love to show off a little flair.
Yep, there's been a little bit of flavorful BM going on in this game. these games so far today. Shen deciding to cover up on the top lane while the rest of the red team is hanging out, and there's one of those right now. A lot of mastery tags going out. Morgana just deciding to sit there and laugh. Does get a little bit of a root off, but Braum doesn't care. And it looks like everyone's relatively content to go to their pre-established roles and areas. Shen just kind of poking around too.
Yeah. I think we'll really see the Nasus really try and get aggressive at about 10 minutes, since Nasus has actually received some pretty strong buffs over the fall season, despite being fairly unnoticed.
Alright. Well, we have the Vi starting Raptors and Jarvan starting Blue. Mid lane seem to be content with farming. Nobody trying anything crazy here at level 1. Top lane as well. Nasus doing Nasus things, waiting for the exact second to start queuing, but does miss the ability to avoid getting a couple of hits in there. A little bit of back and forth bot lane, but nothing too big. So most of the action is going on top lane, which is probably to that Shen's benefit, because he's trying to avoid Nasus getting too big too quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see Shen's build as well. Shen's typically love to go Tiamat or Cinder early to shove the wave, but do you really want the Nasus shoved under tower? A good Nasus can easily Q farm under tower without issue. Really, you want to be able to gank a Nasus in the middle of the lane, so does he defer the Tiamat or the Cinder?
Yeah, we'll have to see, because like we were saying, it is a question of how pushed under the lanes the red team's going to be early game. Jarvan is kind of hanging out in the top part of his jungle. Good taunt by the Shen, but ends up going under tower, and so probably takes more damage than he wanted to. And the other lanes, at least so far, have been relatively gentlemanly. A little bit, some exchanges going off. Morgana and Victor at about half health-ish.
And we do see the Vi pulling in invade now. Wonder if we'll see her and the Jarvan collide, since they are in the same area of the jungle.
Oh, this
The
could go
Vi
really badly for the Jarvan if the Vi decided to go over there, but does not.
She turns away.
That's unfortunate. Getting the Raptors, probably think she's getting a good deal out of the bargain, but who knows what she could have gotten if she'd just gone a little bit further up.
Yeah, very fortunate for that J4. He did not have a good health allocation there.
Yeah, Braum definitely showing his value in this game. Got snared and immediately threw his shield up, negating almost all of the damage that would have been dealt otherwise.
A good Morg Q there.
Yeah.
However, I'm really not seeing the poke I would have expected out of this MF bot lane.
Vi's coming for the Nasus and may get it. Good flash and should get away. Yep, looks like the Nasus managed to pull that out there. Very close though.
Absolutely, and we'll see a very important detail here, whether Greybeard of Odin is able to freeze the lane, because Nasus, if he can't walk up without a flash, he's out of a lot of Q farm.
Another little exchange going on in the bot lane. Braum's shield came in a little late there, and Tristana's going in pretty
dropping
deep.
in!
But it looks like the Misfortune's going to get away, and they may have to just get the Braum instead. Kind of burned the heal there, but what can you do? First blood for the red team. Misfortune was definitely lucky to get out of there.
Absolutely, and like you said, the J4 is going to be critical in determining how this matchup trends because of the amount of pressure that blue team can exhibit.
Alright, and they're using that little pick to take advantage of a dragon here. Looks like Ace may try to do something about that, but I'm not sure that's the best idea considering his health total.
Oh, are they going? Nope, they're just pulling it out. They're not backing off.
Wisely
This is
pulling
definitely, this is definitely a classic Ace play, but instead it's being made by Chaos.
Oh, lots of flashes going down, though. So Ace may have burned his flash, but he got 2 out of it, and I believe the heal as well. So 3 summoners for 1, though also a kill, and the dragon.
And and a dragon. That dragon's gonna be huge as we get to the late game, and this team is all about scaling to that late game.
Yeah, and kind of will help them get there as well, just because, you know, given those late game chance, a little bit of an earlier damage advantage, all really important.
And we're going to be seeing some more action quite shortly when that next Infernal comes out, because we've got a double Infernal start.
Yeah, so that'll definitely be big to whichever team gets it, especially if it's the red team stacking those Infernals. Nasus, meanwhile, is pretty comfortable up top. He's still respecting the damage output that a Shen can put down, but Shen's only at half health, so most engages will at least mean the Shen has to try a little bit harder just to keep out of harm's way.
Absolutely, and the Nasus has as his passive that built-in lifesteal, which allows him to out-sustain so many other champions.
Yeah, it's just getting really close up top. Hopefully we won't miss too much of the action up there. Checking up on the other lanes. Looks like Morgana's trying to be aggressive. Misses the Q on the Misfortune. And it looks as though they're going to be able to get away with relatively little fuss. Misfortune trying to get a little bit back there. That Spell Immune Shield does help prevent the slow on the on Tilted Psyduck. And another kind of missed Q there from the Morgana. Just trying to get some chip damage though, so not the biggest deal in the world. And definitely health potions are really the name of the game. If we look at the items, Misfortune does have more health potions still in her pocket, so definitely could take advantage of another poke exchangers. I'm sure will be coming in the next few minutes.
Absolutely, and the big moment for this bot lane is when they hit 6 and they get that Misfortune ult, and J4 is anticipating that, getting ready for a counter gank. Oh, and the nice anticipation by Misfortune dodging that Q.
Yeah, that Q could have gotten really ugly, but I think they were reading that situation like a book and managed to avoid it as best as they could. Yeah, the Tristan is kind of low. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, but Jarvan takes his moment, but...
And we've got action going on in the top lane as well.
Oh, Shen manages to flash out just in time. That Nasus, big, scary, and 3 heads. Don't wanna run into him.
I must say that is one of my favorite Nasus skins. The 3 heads really take it over the top.
Victor might be caught a little out of position here, but it looks as though Blue's not willing to take advantage of it. Vi and Jarvan are going to meet by Raptors. And Jarvan looks as though he's going to get the advantage on because Vi doesn't really have a lot of her stronger stats yet.
Interesting. The J4 smites the Vi for the slow instead of smiting the Raptors for the health.
Yeah, probably was hoping Victor would come there and clean up, but just a little too slow on the response there. Bot lane also had a little bit of action going on, but Tristana managed to get out before she was taken out, and Misfortune does hit 6.
Yeah, we are primed for action in this game because Shen went for the early
Victor
Tiamat.
Almost gets taken out. Orianna tried to get her ult off there, but quick thinking from the Victor on that flash saves his life. But we'll see. I mean, with that Victor still willing to sit around there, it is entirely possible that they could make something happen here because Vi does have her ult up.
J4 is really going to have to, or Vi, I mean, is really going to have to sit by that top lane now, though the matchup is already tilting against Shen. He really needed to go something besides that Tiamat because now he's just shoving the wave right in for Nasus to Q farm to his heart's content.
Yeah, Braum tried to secure something there toward the end of a back and forth exchange, but after ulting he got trapped again and just kind of got picked off. Obviously the support's job is to make sure the ADC doesn't die, but it's rather unfortunate that Braum keeps getting picked off in those fights.
Yeah, we're currently at about a 1 kill difference in that bot lane. Misfortune's out-farmed Tristana to the point that one of those kills is negated, but it's definitely looking challenging for this spot lane.
All right, Vi's trying to come in, but just manages to switch positions with Tristana.
You know, that Psyduck looked pretty smart there rather than tilted, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, Shen's getting dived under turret. Pulls his shield in and manages to get in there. Nasus has to burn the flash to get out and just barely does. That Shen managed to survive for 1 extra second. He might have been able to pick up the Nasus kill. But we're looking at a 4-0 lead now for the red team. Almost a 2k gold lead.
Yeah, even if the Shen did get that kill, though, it definitely would have been worth for the Nasus. An equal exchange and the opportunity to continue outscaling the Shen makes that a phenomenal decision by Prowler.
Alright, bot lane getting interesting. The Misfortune still hasn't gone back to cash in her gold, and choosing to go back now pretty much guarantees that Red's going to get this second Inferno.
And honestly, they're pretty much guaranteed to get it anyways with the lack of mana that Port Swimmer has. And so much of
she does decide to go back in. Probably shouldn't have listened to me. Good Shen ult trying to keep her alive. Almost gets that ult in there. Maybe should have done a little bit sooner, but the Shen...
The Shen made a bad decision there. There was no additional damage or coming out of that in a good way. If he'd made it in, it just would have been another kill for the enemy team.
Yep, so Red now firmly 2k ahead, 5 kills and 2 Infernal Drakes, which is going to be murder come the late game when all these late game champions start going off.
Yeah, I think we really see this come down to first turret gold. I think if blue team gets first turret, they'll have a chance to stay in this game, but if red team gets it, that may very well be game over.
Well, we'll have to see. Tristana's going back, so Misfortune will have a little bit of time to farm. Nasus moving up to try to get to his turret. And like you said, there's just a bunch of minions here for Nasus to eat.
Yeah, and most people think that by pushing the minions under tower, you're going to really hurt the Nasus's Q farm, but you have the opportunity, if you're a good Nasus, to really still obtain all of those.
Yep, Nasus's Q currently at 168, so looking to see that go up in the next couple of minutes. Vi is trying to solo the crab, the big crab man here. Not sure how that's going to work out for her, but she's certainly giving it the college try.
So you're saying she grabbed a beer and thought it was a good idea?
Well, you know, she might still be able to get it. She just has to maneuver a little bit here. It looks like she will be able to, really in thanks to Vi's passive, giving her that little bit of extra shield that she needed to maintain it. And it looks like she's heading straight top lane. Probably take advantage of the crab and to get that first turret gold that we discussed earlier, because red team's really trying to secure it down bot lane, especially with Braum at low health. Well, actually, no, it looks like she's just going for the rock.
And we're going to see an engage down bot lane. Oh, the turn!
Oh, so close. Misfortune actually might be in trouble, and she is. Yeah, that driving coming in, and it looks like we might have a similar story up top here now as well. Victor trying to secure something, but this Braum is in a really bad spot. Puts up his shield. Jarvan takes him out, and it looks like first turret gold is going down to the red team bot lane. Nasus has popped his ult though, so which doesn't seem to have given it as much effectiveness as they would have liked.
No, he really needed to wait to pop that till he got in the middle of the fight.
Red team still pushing hard bot. Victor goes home. Shen just left fighting the dog again. Might get a second
we're looking at 4.5k gold lead. This is going to be a really hard comeback for
Interesting Shen ult here. Gonna get the Morgana down pretty quickly, and more. Jarvan sacrifices himself so that Tristana can get out, but they lose another turret.
And I wonder if that Rift Herald spawn was intentional. I think he was just trying to place a ward.
Well, we'll have to see it. They should be able to get this turret though. It is pretty low.
Well, you've got that Victor wave clear coming up, and Victor's gravity field is extremely effective against the Rift Herald.
Well, it looks like the Rift Herald's going to get it anyway, and Victor might get caught out of position here. In fact, there is no might about it. He is caught pretty heavily here. The ADC has to run away, though, and is probably going to get taken up by the Nasus, and does. Braum trying to find an avenue, wisely heading up instead of trying to loop back down. Not sure he's going to be able to get away, though, but we'll have to see how the chase pans out. Jarvan coming in to intercept. If Braum gets this corner before Jarvan manages to catch up to him, he should be able to get away.
Yeah, the blue team thought they were fishing for a guppy with that Victor, and they ended up with a shark chewing him up.
Or some appropriate dog metaphor with the Nasus coming in behind them.
Well, I must say, they were fishing for the Victor. They didn't know the dog was going to come hunting from behind.
Indeed. Alright, Shen backing off here. Almost got that top turret down. 4K gold lead for the red team. 10 kills to 2. If we take a look at the gold, we see that Victor and Tristana definitely leading the pack with 6K gold apiece. Seen a lot of 5s on the blue team. Probably not as many as they would like. But, you know, definitely telling the story of where that 4K gold lead is.
Yeah, I think if the blue team wants to come back on this, they're going to have to rely on the 3-ult combo of Vi, Shen, and Orianna getting that ball in there deep and erupting it.
I think that Orianna and Misfortune could definitely do something too. Get a good pull in for much of the team, and then do a Misfortune ult.
Oh, and we have the mid lane engaged.
Yeah, good flash by the Victor. Still taken out though. Vi unfortunately goes down, but they do get the Victor for it. Shen and Nasus are fighting top.
Ults for a 1-for-1.
Looks like Nasus is maybe a little bit too hungry, but the Shen is still going to end up going down. Wastes the flash trying to do some messing with Nasus's AI.
Nasus just got buffed to infinity this fall, patch by patch, and people have failed to take notice of it.
Well, it's currently a 3v2 mid lane. Nasus does not have teleport, so he's not able to come in and help, but he doesn't seem like he needs to. It's a really good Jarvan. Now, Tristana's going to clean this up pretty effectively.
Oh, and the failed jump stops her from getting a triple kill. Easy triple there if she'd gotten that jump a little farther.
Nasus pushing really hard down the top lane. And it looks as though red team's going to go to secure their 3rd dragon. This time, you know, not quite as exciting as maybe another Infernal, but still very useful.
Yeah, at this point in the game, honestly, I think the Ocean Dragon is what the team really wants, because they need to start sieging down these towers, and the sustain to do that will be invaluable.
Alright, Shen going in to help against the Nasus. Vi should probably get out of there, despite how they have Nasus on the run.
And the Ori's coming in! Oh, the nice plant over.
Yep, definitely managed to get out of there just in time. But, you know, just another list of ways the fruit has come in and changed the way League of Legends works, you know, a year later.
Yeah, how did you feel about that when it was initially introduced?
I thought it was interesting, but I mean, you know, it adds another dynamic to the game. And seeing players use those sorts of things effectively is always interesting to see. It does help differentiate League of Legends from games such as Dota or Heroes of the Storm.
So, in a similar change this preseason, they've added Blink, which is a flash that you can use when you've been off combat for 10 seconds. How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, I think it's an interesting mobility kind of thing. I haven't really seen anyone try to take advantage of it too much so far this preseason. Particularly because, you know, the long channel time definitely has probably some people failing to really see much of the applications. So of course, obviously there are some, especially if you've got some ability that will work really well when it lands. There are a couple of characters in other games that have long channel times that take advantage of short-range teleports. So it's possible you could do something like maybe use some sort of quick engage ult from out from behind a bush, hop over a wall and do it. But I just haven't seen anyone frequently take advantage of that yet. But we'll see how it goes as the season progresses.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the jungle applications, especially because if you're, say, an Amumu or a Gragas, do you really want to use your E or your Q to get over Dragon when you could save it for the engage? That could really start opening up some new jungle paths for some of our engaged junglers.
Yeah, especially just keeping in mind, like, I mean, if you could use that Amumu into the Dragon Pit, ult right away, and then bandage over to somebody who's trying to escape. I mean, there's just a lot of ways to think about it. It's just, I don't think that much of the community is used to the idea of having quick access to a teleport that frequently. So
yeah, and to me, it's almost actually disappointing on League's part that they're almost destroying the differentiation of champions by, say, making a Lee Sin and a Amumu more similar, whereas with Amumu you couldn't get over the Dragon Pit. You had those differentiations between the champs, but now you add that in.
Well, speaking of differentiations, we're about to see the differentiation between these two teams in the mid lane. That Q missed, though, from the Morgana. That binding, if that had gone off, would have probably made things a lot worse.
But the real action is about to happen in the top lane as Orianna's roaming up top to take on the Nasus.
Oh, the Nasus ult is secure. That Nasus is doing a lot of damage, though. Great job turning Invincible at the last second there to finally secure a kill on that monstrous Nasus. Braum trying to hold the line on the top lane with his shield to protect the turret, but it looks like Victor's ult is going to help lock that down. Vi gets taken out by a really good Q, but they might be able to get the Jarvan in response to it. Nope, the flash.
Oh, the summoner heal coming in to save them. Always nice to see an ADC sacrifice their heal for another player.
Yeah, it really is, and it's always nice as well just to kind of see those teams kind of work in unison, taking those risks and getting them to pay off.
Well, the ADC is that classic, all for me, I got the damage, I got the kills kind of player, and it's rare that they want to help out the rest of their team.
Yeah, depends who you ask. I think that it depends on the player more than the role itself. But we'll have to see.
I don't know. I think it's the role, because when I go bot lane, I'm a stingy fella. I'm top lane, it's all about the team.
Alright, we see the Shen trying to rotate down. Tristana doesn't choose to chase after him. We are at about a 6k gold lead, almost 7k at this point. Oops, screen going a little crazy there. And Tristana is kind of getting chased down by the Shen, but wisely will just bounce away there. No trouble at all. Morgana really low. Victor as well. That ball just did a lot of damage to him. And I think that's something that the red team is going to need to start respecting a little bit more, is just how high in minion kills this Orianna is. Take a look at the gold lead. Orianna and Misfortune, and Shen actually, are all at 7,800, which obviously is still low compared to the rest of red team, but can't be ignored as a threat, especially if you're already at half health.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, you're really looking at blue team needing to find picks, but they tried that with the Nasus, and the red team was able to respond by taking mid turret, so they need to find a slightly squishier target to pick off.
Yeah, and it looks as though they're trying to do it to the Nasus again, getting him down to quarter health right away. And going even further, the Shen actually really can't be denied to the fact that he can just negate a Nasus's Q relatively easily with his AoE dodge ability.
Yeah, the Nasus, once he's left that first Q on the table, really had to just get out of there, whereas if he'd saved it for the field to expire, he would have gotten an easy 2v1
Really
win
good
there.
displacement there, keeping the Vi away from securing that dragon. And a massive slaughter by the red team against the blue team, going 4 for 2, it looks like.
Yeah, we're just seeing so much of that gold lead coming into play. They just can't stand toe-to-toe with them with this huge gold lead.
And
Not
just,
to mention 4 dragons.
right, 4 dragons, 3 of which are infernals. It's actually rather crazy just to think about. And on top of that, there's a lot of AoE abilities that come out of this red team as well. I mean, especially when you take into consideration if the Nasus is involved, you can throw down that AoE low armor field that can do quite a lot when you've got a Tristana shooting you in the face.
Yes, that Nasus E is very well tuned. Have you ever played against an AP Nasus?
Yes, I've actually played as an AP Nasus, so I know how. I know the legends.
It was actually pulled out by Faker in the 2017 spring LCK.
Alright, but speaking of Nasus, might get caught out a little bit here. Pops his ult immediately. Shen once again taking advantage of his dodge AoE to try to minimize some of that damage. Nasus is just eating all of the...
Oh, the nice Orianna ult, but just not enough damage to it.
Yeah, just not enough, unfortunately. 3 members of Blue do manage to get out, though most of them by the skin of their teeth.
Oh, and the tilted Snorlax going for a little taunting. What a surprise.
It's always interesting to see when, you're talking about trying to catch characters out in games like this, where the rest of the team moves as 4 and Nasus is just by himself. You can't really take on a Nasus for a pick-off when he's as big as this Nasus is, but you also can't, pick off the 4 of the rest of the team.
Kinos, can I ask you, have you ever tried to take on a wall?
I have, though I generally have hammers when I do it.
Yeah, I don't think that this blue team has a big enough hammer for this Nasus, and they're just pounding their fists on the wall.
Yeah. Well, it looks as though red is comfortable just going back here, or we're pretending they were, to take out
the Orianna ult saves them from slaughter as Tristana saw a Penta in her eyes.
Oh, Orianna doesn't get away. So not a Penta, but enough to just increase that gold lead even more. Now 13k, 4 towers up, 18 kills, 4 dragons. And now they're going for the Baron.
It's going to take a pure miracle at this point. I mean, really, at this point, you just need to look for really good quality finishing from the red team, getting those final 2 inhibs and walking it straight into their base.
Yeah, at this point it's definitely just up to the red team to close this game out. And hopefully they have the ability to. As we've seen, they've been able to win pretty handily on the team fights. So as long as they just keep that going, they should be able to just push down mid or top lane and close the game out.
I mean, Nasus could just lend them all the Scooby snacks he's been stacking up all game, and that could turn things around. But in lieu of that, it's pretty rough.
Said Scooby Snacks are now at 543. Absolutely insane.
Yes, sir. There's a reason you have to keep that Nasus at mid lane and gank him again and again and again.
Jarvan looks like he might pick off the Vi, but the Vi is able to dash out of there. Shen manages to save her.
Just a wasted Shen ult, in my opinion. I mean, really, at this point, you can't look to just save someone with that Shen ult. You have to look to make a play with it, and Vi going down at this point is just another 300 gold added to the piggy bank, but a good Shen ult with an engage could really change this game.
Well, that being said, you can look at it from the other way in the fact that they're trying to keep all 5 of their team in the game. If Shen had not ulted there, this would then be a 4v5, and Vi wouldn't have been able to help pick off that Tristana top in the mid lane.
Absolutely. It's completely a matter of opinion.
Oh, Orianna might be able to help get the Nasus very low. This is one of those times where everyone wishes they had a Karthus on their team.
I don't think I ever wished for a Karthus in a game, period.
But looks like this should be able to wrap it up. Everyone's got at least 15 to 10 seconds on their alt timer or on their revive timers, and red should be able to close this out and move into our final game. So from a lost first game to 2 straight games in a row, and now the red team led by Tilted Snorlax and Tilted Psyduck will be heading into our last game of the evening. Any thoughts taking away from that last game?
I think we really saw the Jarvan make a huge impact on this game. I mean, you said it from the beginning of Champ Select when we saw Jarvan that he was really going to be the crux of this team's strategy because they weren't taking pressure lanes.
Yeah, definitely. And like we were talking about, it was a question of who got ahead early and who stayed ahead. And red team got that early, I believe it was a 4-0 lead, and just kind of hung around for the rest of it. Nasus farmed great. Tristana and Morgana managed to keep the pressure on with Jarvan swooping in at the right time to get some picks, and it just kind of rode itself.
Yeah, I think we needed to see heavier pressure uh, from the Misfortune in bot lane. They were pushing the lane but weren't really getting any damage. And the Shen going for that early Tiamat, it's a great play and the standard across the world, but you really can't give that Nasus the safety of his tower to Q farm.
All right. Well, we will be very shortly moving into the final game of the evening. So everybody just sit tight and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Stay tuned.